I know I'm not supposed to take it personally, but Counterpart is a better show than Manifest. And Manifest came into Netflix and said, okay, we left off on a cliffhanger, NBC did us dirty, and we would like to continue it in 3 different versions. One, we could just do a 2-hour movie. And Netflix is like, no, don't do that to yourselves. And then they were like, no, well, we could do a 6-episode miniseries. And they're like, no, but you want to tell a bigger story than that. And they're like, well, you could give us a full season. And Netflix was like, what if we give you 2 halves of a giant season? And they were like, well, we could do that. But what about the actors? They want raises. Netflix was like, oh, that's already in the contract. You just have to sign right here. $4 to $5 million an episode. From what I've heard, clearly a step up with production quality compared to the previous seasons. Now, you and I, we just jumped through this show by watching the previously sections. Literally the minute and a half sections before each episode. And I think we understood it at least 50%. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's going to be stuff that we don't get. But like jumping into season 4, how well did you feel like you were prepared?
Well, they gave me a season 3 recap.
Yeah, but that was stuff you'd already seen,
yeah.
Right?
So, I mean, no, I jumped into it and I understood practically everything that was going on.
Exactly. So, like, the show isn't complicated, but I don't understand how shows like this can find an audience, such a big audience, that is just, like, gung-ho on keeping it around. And Counterpart, just an amazing series that really left off on a cliffhanger in season 2 that I wanted to see even Westworld, that was just canceled. Big surprise to everybody. I kind of wanted to see where that went because they hit the big reset button on that. And so, like, Manifest was not on the long list of shows that I was really, really, really curious about what would happen next. Maybe if you want to relate it to Lost, and they had canceled Lost in the 5th season, then I would understand where these fans are coming from.
Yeah.
I get that. And I'm not here to, like, shit on Manifest because clearly we're about to go through this episode and there are things here to talk about. I just want to start with saying, like, come on, Netflix. We can go back and get J.K. Simmons. But Manifest, it's a supernatural mystery drama created by Jeff Rake about a plane that is massively delayed by 5.5 years. And these are the stories of the passengers.
Well, I thought this was going to be a lot like the 4400 because whenever I saw the trailer for this back in like 2018 on NBC, it always was just about a plane that disappeared and then people that reappeared. And I was like, that is the exact premise of the 4400.
I thought it was a spinoff of the Avengers, like S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that, because of the 5.5 years. I thought it was a blip plane.
You really thought that Marvel was going to be...
No, but I thought that the plot was, like, stolen from that. I thought it was the same idea. Jeff Rake would have seen Avengers and was like, that's a great idea.
Honestly, I thought that this show only ran for 1 season. I had no idea that it ran for 3 or that Netflix had picked it up.
Well, it only got popular after Netflix started showing it, and then people were like, well, this really is... It took off on their platform. It was in the TV top 10 for, like, however long. And
really? Like, I never heard about it after it premiered.
It's like Expanse. Because Expanse, first 3 seasons were on Sci-Fi, then it went on to Amazon Prime, where it was playing on Amazon Prime the whole time, built up an audience there, then they picked it up for another 3 seasons. This, it feels like it's really just season 4 and 5 that were greenlit, but that they just say it's season 4, part A, part B. But you only watched this first episode called Touch and Go, and from here, I mean, the last season finale, I know we had some character kill-offs, we had a baby being stolen, a lot of characters, Michaela, Ben, Jared, Olive, Cal, Sanvi, Zeke, Angelina, everyone's favorite character, Angelina. And by the way, if anybody really has a problem with her, like just because of how evil she is or how much of a religious fanatic that she is, they should go back and watch the 3rd and 4th season of The Americans, because Holly Taylor was cast to play this role. Like, this is her bailiwick. This is her, like, bread and butter. This is the thing that she does. So, and she's very good at it. So I think she's only in this episode for like a couple seconds, right?
Yeah, only a couple minutes.
All right, yeah, but give me the episode breakdown. Where did we kick it off? How does season 4 begin?
There's a guy named Henry Kim. We don't know that till later on in the episode, but it's Henry Kim.
He was mentioned in the season 3, but I don't think we saw him.
Yeah, he has like a ton of wires hooked onto him. He's even wearing something that looks like headphones. And there's a ton of scientists just doing work on him, trying to figure out what's going on. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he's transported to a completely different place.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to how we see Michaela transported a bunch of times into the plane.
Yeah, and Eureka, we saw this last season. I think it's the last shot of last season.
Project Eureka?
Yeah, there was a pilot named Daly. He was stuck inside the A-28 plane, and he was just saying, like, crazy stuff.
Don't you remember him screaming in the previous league?
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah,
and
he's just screaming inside there.
And then randomly, the last shot is, like, that plane suddenly transports somewhere. We don't know where.
Yeah.
I bring that up because that's important. But
that's why everybody thinks it's an alternative universe, where in one universe, the plane was destroyed, and these people were never supposed to survive, so they're getting these call-ins and connections back and forth, and to me it's too much. But again, I'm not the main audience for the show.
Yeah, so after Henry Kim is transported, that's when the intro plays. That was like a 30-second intro, and I was like, okay, we're jumping straight into it, because I was expecting like at least, I don't know, usually shows go at least 2 or 10 minutes.
No, we're on Netflix now.
Yeah, this was just suddenly like, all right, we're straight into it. So then we cut to Ben. He's putting up missing posters of his child that's missing, Eden. And this is the introductory of one of 2 main storylines that's going on.
I mean, it's 2 years in the future from where we last left him, where the baby was stolen.
And Ben is still, like, he is still gun-ho that Eden is alive.
Did anybody say that she was dead?
Yes, every other person is saying she's dead.
Why?
Because they're just, like, giving up hope because they can't find her. Ben is calling...
Is that how it works? It's like if we have no evidence that says they're dead,
Ben's calling up Jared. He's like, look, I need you to run more Amber Alerts. Like, I need you to do this. Like, I'm trying to find her. I know that she's still alive. And every single person is like, listen, she's dead. And this was really bad because this was like 5 minutes into the episode, and I thought to myself, oh no, there's absolutely no chance that Eden is dead. Ben is 100% correct. And at first I thought
he's the hero of the show. So
I thought it was one of those things where it was like, maybe as the audience member, we're already supposed to know that she's alive.
Yes.
And Ben is just...
Well, we saw that Angelina took her, and we never saw her murder her. So and plus, you don't kill a baby in this type of show.
But the thing is that that's what this whole entire episode was surrounding. That this whole entire episode was the fact, like, oh, Eden might be dead. That's like really the storyline they're trying to go with in this premiere. And that's when I was like, oh no, this show is going to really annoy me.
It's just going to drag you.
Because it was just dragging it so far out. And and every show does this. It's like, unless you see a character die, it's the golden rule. Unless you see a character die on screen, they're alive. That's always been the case. So then we cut to Michaela and Zeke. They wake up in bed. And for some reason, they woke up because cherry blossoms randomly out of nowhere are falling in their room.
Are you sure that they're actually there, or is this in their mind?
No, they're actually there. And that's even something Zeke says. Like, Zeke is like, what's going on? And then Michaela is like, well, these are cherry blossoms, and I don't know what that means yet. So obviously, this is somewhat like a calling.
Well, remember, he almost froze to death. So, like, bits of ice were falling off him, and like, when he was indoors and warm and stuff. So, like, yeah, stuff happens.
The strangest thing about this show, though, is the fact that these visions that these characters get, and it happens to multiple of them, they call it callings, and suddenly they're somehow able to figure out that's a calling, like, in a split second.
Well, if you've had enough of them, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to recognize them at this point. Yeah, it's been years.
But there's a part in this episode where Ben thinks that because the windmill is turning a certain way, that's a calling.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, but he's not sure?
No, he's like 100% sure about it. And I'm like, that could have just been the fact that there's no wind at all. Like, they're like the most subtlest things, I felt like.
I would trust the characters, especially Ben, since he's been the one leading sort of the charge for Project Eureka.
No question, because Ben is even telling Cal, who again is older.
So Cal did that age jump. It's a new actor.
Yeah.
Right? And the actor who was playing him, it went from someone who was 5 years younger than his twin sister on the show, Olive, but then now it's played by someone who is like 4 or 5 years older than her.
Yeah, no,
so why can't you cast someone who's like the exact same age as her, who looks like her?
I think that he is my favorite character, honestly.
So they improved him with his...
They actually improved him with the actor that they put in there.
Why?
Because I liked his acting the most. And
like, what does he do?
His character felt the most... I felt a lot of sympathy for him. One of the first flashbacks that we see is he knocks on his family's door. It's shortly after Ben's wife has died, aka his mom. And they open up, and the whole entire family is there.
Shocked, I would assume.
Yeah, very shocked.
I like how they recognized him, though. Because, I mean, he doesn't look exactly the same. But
you have Michaela and Zeke and Ben, and they're like, kind of happy to see him. And I thought that the guy's acting was good as well. And then you also have Olive. But Olive, she is, like, pissed off. Because apparently he's part of the reason why Ben's wife died. He trusted Angelina a lot. And what happened is
he gave her some key or something.
Gave her the key.
Yeah.
She was able to get into the house. And Olive is just like hitting him and just like really mad. She ends up walking away. Mm-hmm. And I was a little surprised that the family, I mean, I get it's so odd with this storyline because it's like, I get that they're happy to see him after so much time has passed.
Yeah.
And that he's still alive. But also, Olive is right. Like, he's the reason why Ben's wife, which seems like it's going to be the driving force, at least for this season, is dead.
Yeah, but it's interesting because, like, Olive, if you go back to season, I think it was 2, it may have been even 1, but she was the one who was originally getting on board with sort of the religious aspect of the 828ers, the ones who think that, like, it's some supernatural force that they're supposed to be guided by.
Right.
She distances herself away from that. Angelina comes and takes over as the crazy one. But, like, it's weird how, like, even in that season, before Angelina was introduced, I was thinking, well, Olive is like the Holly Taylor character in The Americans because she's getting absorbed in a religion that she shouldn't be a part of. Right. But now she's blaming her brother for also falling under the, I guess, spell and saying that and helping Angelina out.
And that's what I liked about the show, actually. The flashbacks provided more story progression, it felt like, than the future storyline.
Sure.
Like, I wanted to see Cal introduce himself back to the family. And then even before that flashback, you get a quick flashback where Ben, he's driving, it's the same night, he's driving to his house and he learns that his wife has died. Olive is like crying and coming up to him. And I was like, this is actual stuff that I want to see.
Yeah, it's providing you the in-between, but they're doing the 2-year jump, I think, because it's like it wouldn't be plausible that the wife would die and then suddenly everybody would still jump into the next adventure. Like, they're giving you time to grieve, or the characters time to grieve until the story can collect itself again 2 years later and become something else.
It's just, I was wondering to myself, like, why couldn't they have started the show this way? Because every single flashback, they used to do it 3 times, 2 at the beginning,
so do
1
like
at the
a
very
2-year
end.
jump midway through the episode as opposed to doing flashbacks interspliced in between. It's just a matter of directing. And the director, if you want to go after him, is named Romeo Tyrone. He's directed things like The Tick and Once Upon a Time.
Well, I like the flashback scenes because they also showed black and white. It was black and white, and then it was like colored whenever it was in the future storyline. Mm-hmm. So Cal is calling his dad. He's using the name Gabriel. Michaela and Zeke walk into the room. Olive is there. And the main reason that this scene is here is because they are trying to show that he needs to be kept under house arrest. No one can know that Cal is there because everyone's going to have questions as to why he's older.
So he's taking up a false identity. He has a new passport.
Yeah, again, he's locked down. He's not allowed to go outside.
His name is Gabriel now. Yes.
Yeah, I mean...
But why is he calling his dad?
He's calling his dad because he's trying to figure out where he is, because the dad is still putting up the missing child posters. And
so we're still at that first day of like 2 years in the future.
We're about 10 minutes into the episode.
Sure.
Right now.
Oh, wow. Keep going.
So then we have Olive and Zeke. They end up going to their own jobs. Zeke is like a therapist, and he has some type of...
He's a superpower.
Yes, because telekinetic power or something.
Remember, he almost died, and then he came back, and he now has empathic abilities, so he can like feel other people's emotions.
Like he's speaking to someone. He's speaking to a patient that's like it kind of closed off, and he's like, let it go, and he's using this superpower, and really what the camera does is it just shakes a little on his face, and then has a sound, and then suddenly the patient just starts crying.
Yeah,
it was like, what?
No, that just reminds me of like Misfits or Heroes. Like, that's a legitimate actual superpower, but I assume he also has like the drawback that he then feels that he takes in the emotion himself.
Yes, we even see that. Well, not really the emotion, but he definitely gets sick when he does it.
Oh, okay.
We see that in an elevator when he kind of like crouches down and it's like, And then we also have Michaela. She gets one of those callings. She sees herself, I guess, in the future, like kind of coming out of a lake with a ton of cherry blossoms. It was very strange.
So, the cherry blossoms again.
Yeah, the cherry blossoms are back. And then Cal continually seems to always be really interested in the callings. He gives...
Well, yeah, because for a while, people thought that maybe future Cal was the one giving the callings.
I mean, like, that somewhat makes sense, kind of.
No, I'm talking about, like, first season stuff when he had cancer, and then there was, like, he was sick, but at the same time, he was the only one who really understood the callings. But then, after a while, his character became so confused with the callings that I think people started disliking the character of Cal because it just added another question to the show that no one was willing to answer.
Yeah, because he always has advice on what to do. Like, for example, when Michaela gets the calling, he's like, you might want to consider going to the shipping container yard. And she's like, why the shipping container yard? And he's like, I think there's going to be stuff there. So she goes to the shipping container yard, and lo and behold, there's like a ton of shipping containers with cherry blossoms on it. And then she's able to tell that there's like one that's kind of lighting up that has a sigil on it on the front, and she goes inside it, and then that's where suddenly, for some reason, Henry Kim is.
I was gonna think that Henry Kim would be there. I don't know. Yeah.
And he has like, I think he has like Flight 828 carved into his arm. He's completely knocked out though. And the strange thing about this shipping container yard is the fact that although they were trying to make it seem like it has a lot of security and a lot of people just working there that would be able to tell like right away if someone wasn't supposed to be there, it seems like everyone was able to get through it pretty easily. Like, she just walks walks in.
She's
there.
an ex-cop, so she knows how to like distinguish herself and make herself seem like she's where she needs to be.
Yeah, she takes Henry Kim, and then she decides to go to Eureka, and that's where we also see Sanvi. Is that her name? I think.
Yeah, that's the doctor.
Yeah, and then she's working with Vance. She is still investigating the clip of the Eureka suddenly disappearing out of their like testing chamber.
Yep.
And Vance, it always seems like when
like where's the plane at this point? That's where everybody wants to know.
But it always seems like whenever a character is doing something, for example, Ben trying to find Eden or Zombie with the Eureka footage, there's always another character that's there that's like, you know what? It's just done. It's just over. Like, that's Vance's whole entire point in the scene. He's like, stop looking at it like you've been doing this for too long. You're going to make yourself sick. We're just never going to end up finding what's going on. So Michaela brings Henry Kim there. They kind of hook him up to a lot of machines. And the one thing that he can say, because he's kind of like knocked out, he has his eyes closed a lot of the time, but he's like, the boy, there's this box and I need to give the box to the boy.
Sure.
And they're all like, okay, well, the boy obviously has to be Cal. So they come up with this elaborate plan, and this is like supposed to be the big part of the episode. We have Vance. He's like hacking into the camera system, and he's like seeing where everyone is so that Cal can kind of make it through unscathed and unnoticed.
You got the tech guy, you got
Vance,
teenager.
and then you have also you have Michaela outside, and she's speaking to him through an earpiece. Sure. And this is supposed to be a big deal. And what ends up happening, except the fact that, again, Cal just marches on in there, and he's like right next to the shipping container at this point. It seems like the only real obstacle is that there are two workers that are right next to the shipping container as well, having a conversation.
Like on the other side, so they can't see him.
No, they're like they're right next to it, so he can't just walk through. They will see him if he tries to walk through. So they're just talking and talking and talking, and then Vance is like, "Look, we need to wait for an opening." And then instead of doing any of that, it wasn't like Cal somehow found like some new guts or new confidence to do anything. He just decides to screw what Vance was saying, screw what Michaela was saying, and just decides to walk to the shipping container completely in view of the two people that are working there. Just walks inside.
Yeah.
So they came up with this whole plan for
Did
absolutely
it work?
nothing.
Did it work?
The point is they didn't need a plan. It didn't need to work.
Maybe
he just
it's
walked
so
inside.
It was a joke. Yeah, it was a joke.
No. The show wasn't playing it for jokes. It seemed like they were actually trying to be serious. He just walks inside. He finds this box. He does send a picture to Vance of the box.
Yeah.
I think it's like something Airways on it. And then Vance is like, oh, this is a black box.
Oh, it's the black box to the plane.
Yes, what the plane has.
Sure.
So they end up taking the black box. And then on the other side, we have Ben. He kind of got a calling that Cal.
Is he still playing up photos?
Yeah, he's still trying to find Eden. He's still trying to find Eden.
Wow, he is spending the whole day.
He's very sad, but he is determined. He's like, there's no way that she is dead.
Okay.
Jared even gives him a death certificate, and he's like, no, I don't.
While
I
he's
don't
putting up the
believe
photos?
it. No. They just have a talk at his house.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, no, I don't believe this at all. He even gets a calling that
it's so weird that Jared, after seeing everything, like even with Michaela, like that he would think, okay, 2 years is enough to call anyone dead. I mean, all of these people were considered dead after 5.5 years.
No, and that's the thing. I guess I was so irritated with the storyline.
Like the world we live in should not dictate after 2 years you're determined to be dead.
That, and also just the fact that Eden was not dead. We know this.
Yes. Okay. All right.
So
he just finds her, right?
Well. I wish it would make this show better. He gets a calling like midway through the episode. He doesn't want to do it, so Cal decides to go on the calling after some convincing it takes. And Cal,
I like how callings are now missions in like video games, where it's like those one-offs that you can just decide to do or ignore.
That's exactly what it was like. He goes to this person named Anna Ross. Anna Ross has, for some reason, been able to kind of have callings of herself. So Cal pulls out his phone and he's like, you know what? I know there's a windmill around here. Is this what it looks like whenever you're having your visions? And Anna Ross is like, yes, I'll go there later on in the episode.
So they used a calling to get to another person's calling?
Yeah.
To get to a windmill.
Yes. And so
style.
Anna Ross goes there, and then Ben, when he's just staring at this death certificate, out of nowhere in the background, this blue windmill just starts like outlining itself in pure blue and starts spinning. It was the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen. And then he suddenly...
He could be having a stroke.
It seemed like he went to the windmill, he sees Anna Ross there, and then that's when he does the whole entire thing. He sees a windmill. He's like, okay, that's a calling as well, because they're pointing us in the direction of where Eden should be. And then Anna Ross just decides to follow him. And when they like just are walking, Ben hears this child screaming, and he's like, oh my God, Eden. So he runs like to this lake, and he realizes it's not Eden. It's just
a different
this kid.
baby.
It's just a kid that for some reason their father is drowning in the lake.
Oh, so he's there to save the dad.
So yeah, he's there to save the dad.
Yeah.
It added absolutely nothing to the storyline except for maybe just being a MacGuffin. I don't know. They saved the dad.
Hey man, they saved someone's life.
But it did nothing.
Okay.
They saved the dad. Ben comes home. Everyone is just kind of sitting around, and he's like, you know what? Maybe Eden really is dead, and burns the death certificate. And I was like,
wait, wouldn't he need to keep it? If he actually thinks his daughter's dead, then he would definitely need to keep it.
He was just giving like this kind of, it actually was probably one of the best scenes out of the whole episode, because he was talking about how he like misses his wife and how he's
But Ben Stone's not your favorite actor. It's still Cal Stone.
No, it's still Cal.
It's one of the Stones.
And so he burns the death certificate, and that's when I just lost my mind, because suddenly what happens but that Anna Ross, the person that's been helping them, and I think that she's in previous seasons as well.
Yes, sort of.
Because
maybe first season.
He talks about how she's helped them in the past.
Yeah, I don't think that she's like a prevalent character. I don't think people know who she is though. Like people had to do a double take.
People know who she is now.
Yeah.
Suddenly there's like ashes of the death certificate that come into her room, and we see one of the drawings that she supposedly has done, and then she's carrying milk and cookies, and I was like, "Show, you're not fooling anyone. You're not smart."
Santa's here.
She walks into the room, and what do you know? Except for the fact that Angelina and Eden are there, and Eden's actually, I did like this, that Eden's actually the one who has been the Collings.
Yeah.
So she's the one that's been drawing the windmills.
Because she's part of the family.
Yeah, and Angelina has like somehow convinced Eden that she's her mom.
Somehow. I mean, she was a baby when she was kidnapped. It's believable. Also, that's kind of like Nathan Fielder. Remember the end of that season? It's almost word for word.
Those were actors. I mean, this is supposed to be taken seriously. And then the other storyline, just to finish it up, apparently the black box, they have been able to get some audio from it, and the audio is somehow actually synced up with what Dally was screaming at in the Eureka fight.
Nice.
So they've been able to figure that out.
So it's like a Doctor Who thing where they're able to use the script and the black box to like make a full conversation.
Right, yeah.
That's cool.
And that's basically where the episode ends, and it just felt so overly long and convoluted just to get to such a predictable...
the show. So it's either fun and absurd for some audience. For the people who are still watching it, it's fun and absurd. For the other people, it's clumsy and unnecessarily messy.
That's the thing. It's half of half with me, because the Ben storyline was just messy and just led to absolutely what I already knew was going on. But I do have to admit, just seeing Cal suddenly stroll into the shipping container yard, when they seemed like it was going to be this big thing, and I don't think it was played for laughs, but the fact that it was so absurd I did like that storyline.
It's the so bad it's good type thing.
Yes.
Where it's like, if you can watch Lost the first few seasons, you're disappointed by the last one. I liked up until season 6. But yeah, I laughed at the last one because of how bad it was. But with this show, I don't think it ever had that kind of like where it was super good. You know, I think it's always been one way, and that's the way the fans have grown to love it.
I mean, yeah, but like I said, the flashbacks though, those weren't so bad. It was good. Like I actually like those flashbacks. There's even a flashback where Cal is talking to Sanvi. It's such a weird name, but he's speaking to Sanvi.
Well, Sanvi and Ben kind of have a thing going.
About
maybe.
Well, no, Cal though. Cal's speaking to Sanvi.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
his dad.
And he's talking about how when he touched the part of the flight, and he ended up like zapping away. Mm-hmm. He's talking about like what he saw there, and I was like, that's actually interesting. Like these flashbacks are doing a better job than the show is of keeping my interest.
There's one thing that the show was brought back for, it was for answers. So I think they will probably give you answers. Also, the reviews for this thing haven't been too bad. What was your rating? Your final rating?
Okay, well, honestly, I mean, it does seem like with the 4 seasons, there's a story behind it, and there's a big one at that. The acting is fine, and it is nicely shot, like you were saying. It has a bigger budget.
They kept the black screens, like the commercial cut screens, even though they don't have commercials. That was just a...
Yeah, no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that was just a decision that they decided to go with.
Overall, I'm going to give the episode a 5 out of 10. It doesn't pass, because it didn't get to the like bar of so bad that it was good, which is either kind of like a good and bad thing.
All right, well, for everyone else, it passed. The Wrap said season 4, part 1, that's for the entire thing, but it includes the first episode, may stick the landing. Ready, Steady, Cut said it was a thrilling addition to the revived mystery box drama, and TV Fanatic gave the specific episode 5 out of 5 stars. I really couldn't find too many negative reviews for this
so
thing.
I'm like the only negative review.
But I mean, it's like the people who are watching it on the regular are the people who are already fans.
Right, the people that are sticking around.
Yeah. So I have a little game for you, though. Do you find anything else about Henry Kim, though, by the end?
No, I don't think so. I think that that's about it.
They just kind of leave him there?
Yeah.
All
he's
right.
he's going to be in the rest of the season, I assume, or at least a couple more episodes.
And does Michaela get any closure on her rose petal thing?
No, not really. I think that was just a have it where Cal needed to get back to the box.
Yeah, most people were talking about the production quality. They were talking about how it was good pacing, and also about how people hate Angelina. They would just like despise her
Well, you're
much.
supposed to.
But if she was going to die, whose hand would you want her to die by?
Oh, man. I mean, the characters are so likable. I don't think she's going to die by anyone's hand.
I mean, people want Olive to be the one to kill her. Because she's the one who betrayed Olive the most.
She's the one that has the most reason to. Mm-hmm. But again, I feel like the characters...
Her sister, yeah.
The characters are too likable where I don't think they're going to end up... She's going to die by, like, her own fruition or something.
All right, so a little game. Name the supernatural drama. I'm going to give you... We're going to put a minute on the clock, say. And then I'm going to just list off different descriptions for supernatural dramas and see how many you can get. They'll start off easy. They'll get really hard as it goes on. Ready?
All
right. Ready, set, go. In an instant, at least 4,400 overlooked, undervalued, or otherwise marginalized people who had vanished without trace over the past century are returned to Detroit, having not aged a day and with no memory of what happened to them.
The 4,400.
Yes, right? But you shouldn't wait until I'm done. You should get these because we're literally on a time limit. A post-apocalyptic world where a mysterious cataclysmic event simultaneously killed every mammal with a Y chromosome, but for one...
Oh, why the last man?
Okay, a massive sinkhole opens up in the middle of Los Angeles. Okay, violent animal attacks upon humans. Suddenly, something causes everyone in the world to black out just over 2 minutes time. Each person sees a series of events in his or her future, some good, some bad, some apparently non-existent.
I don't know, Colony?
No, you can just pass on that one if you want. A small town called Pretty Lake and the surrounding rural area are under siege from a mysterious disease that has wiped out everybody aged 22 and older.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it.
1. That was between.
Between.
That was between. And the previous one was Flash Forward.
Flash Forward, okay.
Yeah. I only had a couple more. They were for Alcatraz and Touch and then Revolution.
I was not going to get any except for maybe Revolution.
Yeah. This isn't the first plane show that we've done before. We've done Departure, Yellow Jackets, The Wilds. It's not the first Doomsday plot that we've done. The Stand, Raised by Wolves.
I thought The Stand, when you mentioned one of them, I forgot which one, but I was thinking The Stand for a little while.
Mm-hmm. The 100, The Rain, Snowpiercer, and yeah. I mean, overall, I would think that that Counterpart would have been the way to go. But that's just a personal recommendation. Next time, maybe. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode. Hope you enjoyed this one. Bye.
Bye.